Now, one thing we need to hear more about from GOP presidential candidates is what they're going to do about the gross overreach of the Justice Department. So they've targeted Christians, parents, you name it, they've done it. Now, anyone who's rattling the cage or making noise about the establishment, the Biden administration perceives it as a threat. Now they're going after Elon Musk again. The DOJ is suing his company SpaceX over discriminatory practices because the company will not hire asylum seekers or refugees. Now, this isn't something Musk has ever hidden. He's been saying it for years. In fact, he says it's all because of one thing.
When are you going to hire people from other countries than the U.S.?
Unfortunately, this is not up to us. So the U.S. government regulations, they make getting a job in the U.S. hard as it is, just getting a job visa hard as it is. But if you're working on rocket technology, that's considered an advanced weapons technology. So even a normal work visa isn't sufficient. So I want to be clear, this is not out of some desire of SpaceX to just hire people with green cards. It's because we're not allowed to do anything else.
The government says that he's wrong, that Musk can hire asylees and refugees to work on rocket and weapons technology. I personally don't think you should be able to do that, but they say that's the law. Now, I want you to hear something else that Musk said about this policy.
I think this is not a wise policy for the U.S. because there's so many talented people all around the world that we would love to have work at our company, but unless they can somehow get a green card, we can't. We're legally prevented from hiring anyone.
So Musk is pretty liberal on this. He's not really with the populist camp on this type of question. But joining me now is David Sachs, a close friend and former colleague of Elon Musk. He's also a partner at Kraft Ventures and co-host of the All In podcast. Now, David, setting aside the Angles' disagreement with Musk on who should be working on rocket technology, why do you think the DOJ filed this lawsuit? Is it really a principled disagreement about the statute itself or something else going on?
Well, Laura, I think, first of all, they're basically saying that SpaceX is hiring too many Americans. They believe that SpaceX should have hired fewer American citizens and green card holders and hired more refugees. But the really crazy thing about this is, as you heard in your video, it's not like Elon wanted to have that policy. What he said is that they were required to. There's a law called ITAR, which is the International Traffic in Arms Regulation Act, which controls how companies that are involved in manufacturing rockets and advanced weapons have to deal with classified information. And it was widely understood, this is the belief of the entire industry, not just SpaceX and Elon, that they could not hire basically foreign nationals, that they could only hire American citizens and green card holders. It wasn't until April of this year that the DOJ issued what they called a clarification, saying that these companies had to hire, again, refugees and asylees as considered under the category of U.S. persons. And now they're going back, and they want to make it retroactive to 2008 through 2022. So pre-clarification, they want to basically say that SpaceX is liable for those 15 years before they issued this clarification.
Yeah, I want people to know what this entails, as David referenced there. Okay, the DOJ wants SpaceX to pay back pay, including interest and all other relief available to each individual discriminated against who was actually qualified. I mean, that's got to be not an insignificant amount of money, David. And again, this seems really punitive at this point. This does not seem like a fair application of clarified statutory language.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the remedies here are unprecedented. First of all, they want SpaceX to pay the DOJ civil penalties. But more than that, like you said, they want to go back and say that anybody who was screened out, you have to pay them lost wages for all the years since they were screened out. So it's essentially what the government is assuming is that somebody who was screened out in this way definitely would have been hired, definitely would have stayed at SpaceX for all of those years, and was entitled to all of this back pay. As we know, SpaceX has a very high bar for hiring. It's a very difficult place to get jobs. And people who can get jobs there can get jobs in lots of other places. So they're just assuming these incredibly draconian remedies
Yeah,
that
no,
I don't
this
think
is-
they'd be applying to any other company.
That's the kicker. I think he's being targeted for who he is, what he believes about free speech, and for, of course, X, formerly known as Twitter. That's what this is about. David, thank you for your insights on this.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.